Charlie, thanks very much. Tonight, we are hearing for the first time from a security officer who witnessed the terrorist attack on the U.S. diplomatic mission in Benghazi, Libya last year. U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans were killed in the attack on the mission and a nearby annex. In an interview for 60 Minutes, correspondent Lara Logan spoke with a British citizen who'd been hired to train the Libyan guards at the U.S. mission. He called himself Michael Jones. It's a pseudonym.
Why do we have Libyans guarding our
says he was annoyed that the State Department wouldn't allow his guards to carry guns. As the attack began last year on September 11th, one of his guards called Jones, who was living nearby.
I could hear gunshots, and he said, "There's men coming into the mission." His voice, he was scared. He could tell he was really scared. He was running. I could tell he was running.
Sorry.
His first thought was for his American friends, the State Department agents pinned down inside the compound, and he couldn't believe it when one of them answered his phone.
I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Oh, we're getting attacked." And I said, "Well, how many?" And he said, "They're all over the compound." And I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. And I said, "Well, just keep fighting. I'm on my way."
Morgan's guards, unarmed and terrified, were surrounded by heavily armed gunmen, but they still sounded the alarm.
They said that we're here to kill Americans, not Libyans, so they give them a good beating. Pistol whipped them, beat them with their rifles, and let them go.
We're here to kill Americans.
That's what they said, yeah.
Not Libyans.
Yeah.
An independent investigation of Benghazi found that the mission's security was grossly inadequate and that requests for additional security were not approved at State Department headquarters. You can see Lara Logan's full report, which explains the attack through the eyes of those who understood it best, this Sunday on 60 Minutes. There's a report tonight that the U.S. government's eavesdropping overseas has been much more widespread than we knew. The Guardian newspaper in England says the National Security Agency monitored the phone conversations of 35 world leaders. Mark Phillips has the latest from London. And Mark, this isn't going over well in Europe.
No, Scott, livid, in fact, would be a word to describe the reaction of international leaders to the latest revelations about U.S. spying. The U.S. ambassador to Germany was called in for a dressing down today. And the U.S., which until now has justified its spying by the need to keep tabs on
I have a feeling that this is Snowden. He took information from the NSA. I have a feeling that's how they found out about it.
Today were united in anger at the United States for spying on them. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is famous for her attachment to her cell phone. It turns out the NSA seemed to have liked it too. German intelligence confirmed news reports that Washington had been listening in. Spying on friends is not acceptable, she said. Her foreign minister, Guido Westerwelle, speaking in English to emphasize the anger, went further.
This undermines trust, and this can harm our friendship.
Merkel compared notes with French President François Hollande. He also complained this week about reports the U.S. intercepted millions of phone calls from France as well. And Italian Prime Minister Enrico Letta will be concerned about another credible report today about U.S. spying on his government. Irish Prime Minister Enda Kenny summed up the attitude.
I always use this phone on the basis that somebody may be listening.
And these latest revelations have been coming from the same place that the revelations have been coming from for months. From Edward Snowden, the former NSA employee who's still holed up in Moscow and still releasing documents from the hoard that he has with him. This latest set causing great international embarrassment for the U.S. and, it has to be said, raising international diplomatic tensions as well, Scott.
Mark Phillips outside the Houses of Parliament in London. Mark, thanks very much. The U.S. State Department said today that 2 Americans have been kidnapped from an oil supply ship off the coast of West Africa, presumably by pirates. The captain and chief engineer were taken yesterday as their ship sailed in international waters near Nigeria. No word on whether there's been a ransom demand. The U.S. Navy is monitoring the situation. We now know how a Massachusetts teacher was killed, allegedly by one of her students. Could a Kennedy cousin serving time for murder soon be free? And a portrait fit for a future king when the CBS Evening News continues.